Well, the gay European Gestapo is here, and they're going to arrest you for saying that men cannot be lesbians. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Zukradowski here of wearechange.org, and we have a plethora of absolutely crazy news to get into, as of course it looks like things are going to get a lot crazier before they get any better anytime soon, as of course we have the latest developments with all the political drama happening here domestically inside of the United States, as well as a focus on the international drama and the larger geopolitical news between Russia, China, and the United States. We're going to be talking about that plus a lot more. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, promo code WRC15 for 15% off. And the intro video that we played in the beginning of this broadcast comes originally from Sweden, where the Swedish police decided to show off their latest dancing moves, and the case that I mentioned earlier of literally a person being arrested happened in Norway, where an artist is facing 3 years in jail for saying men cannot be lesbians and get pregnant. Yes, you heard that correctly. That's the level of Orwellian thought criminal, totalitarian social credit score like systems that have already been implemented in Europe, which are absolutely terrifying. But at least here in the United States, we have the First Amendment, which a lot of very high-profile politicians are trying to take away from you. And in some instances already have with big tech social media censorship that, of course, is very courageously censoring and stopping whistleblowers and independent journalists from daring to criticize very powerful institutions in our life. And whether it's the multinational corporations or international banksters, they pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever in the world they want, since, of course, big tech social media will always help them to do their bidding. All of this as the U.S. Federal Reserve has just announced that they are most likely going to be hiking interest rates very soon. All of this as the cost of living has gone up dramatically in the United States with record food costs that are only going to be going up from here. But forget about all that nonsense. We have a former president of the United States that soon is expected to be arrested in New York City for signing an NDA with a private party with his own private money. Yes, that's actually happening. Or is it, as today, in the making of this video, we just found out that the Trump grand jury was canceled for the day. There was no indictment yet given of the former president of the United States, as according to many high-level profile sources and a lot of media reports, it is coming. Now there's question raised if it actually will. If it does, the president of the United States is expected to be arrested next week, arraigned, fingerprinted, given a mugshot. And if that happens, man, is it going to be a major turning point in this country, especially when it comes to the political discourse. Stormy Daniels has just announced that she will, quote, dance down the street if Trump is jailed. There's also a matter of Secret Service, so I don't think Trump is going to be jailed. The fact that he's being charged for such a crazy insane misdemeanor just absolutely makes no sense at all. But very interestingly, Trump so far has been able to raise $1.5 million, according to some sources, for his presidential campaign since the news broke. And a lot of individuals, whether it's Chris Rock, Elon Musk, and other political pundits, have said that this news has actually helped the former president of the United States tremendously, and I would have to agree with them. But another very interesting thing that has been happening throughout all of this is that a lot of the fighting, a lot of the contention isn't between the MAGA supporters and the Democrats here punishing Donald Trump. It's between fellow Republicans fighting each other. This is one of the biggest takeaways, and some of the biggest talking points surrounding this entire matter have been around Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, which Donald Trump has attacked viciously for many months now, said some absolutely very awful things about the man. And Ron DeSantis last night decided to fight back, which, let's be honest here, politically speaking, is not the best timing. Wasn't the best strategic move made by the governor of Florida, especially when a man is being prosecuted by the state in an absolute unfair way. To decide that this is the moment to finally stop remaining silent on the matter and to attack the former president of the United States strategically is not a good look. And we tell you this, not as fans of Donald Trump, but just how things are coming off here in the public sphere. This as Ron DeSantis was interviewed by Piers Morgan on Fox, insisting that he could beat Biden in 2024. He dismissed the Ron DeSanctimonious insults against him. And as some people have pointed out, they are falling for the trap of fighting each other rather than the actual people that are fighting them. And again, if you are a Republican, if you are a right-winger, there's a lot of things that we could be focusing on, especially when it comes to Hillary Clinton destroying emails, hiding classified information, Pelosi's insider trading, the Biden administration and all of their family members receiving money from China, Russian oligarchs, corrupted business leaders all over the world, especially from Ukraine. And the one thing that the former president of the United States gets punished for is a hush payment for an NDA 7 years ago. The law clearly isn't being applied fairly here, and that should be the topic of discussion if truly there was some kind of strategic cohesion and thought within the Republican right-wing party. And from an outside perspective looking in, it definitely looks like they are falling for the traps of fighting each other, causing internal petty drama, and as they're getting politically destroyed all over the country. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more, especially who our guy is later on today on LukeUnfiltered.com, which, by the way, is undergoing a lot of changes. If you are already a member, don't worry, you will keep everything you have gotten before, but we have just created an entire new tier of memberships, which if you go on LukeUnfiltered.com, you could see all the amazing access and information and skills that we could give you by being a part of a new A-List newsroom membership that is available right now for a short period of time for individuals who decide to join us in the newsroom, where you get hands-on insight training to see how everything is done behind the scenes, with a larger participation of the stories, of the research, of the major decisions that we all make. That important data and information and learning process available to you now through an A-List membership. We did a Illuminati membership just for ish and giggles, just if you have way too much money and you don't know what to do with it. Hey, there's a lot of people out there like that. And if you want to support us, that's definitely one way of doing it. The more practical way is through these two memberships. We now have a basic one that includes everything else that was included before, and now even more a part of the A-List newsroom membership available for you exclusively only on LukeUnfiltered.com, where later on today we're also going to be getting into some very high-profile issues that we cannot discuss here on this particular broadcast. That video, plus the huge amount of wealth and plethora of insightful training tools that we have offered to you, all available later on today on LukeUnfiltered.com. See you there. Click the link down in the description below to sign up and find out more, while also getting more engaged. Now, with all the domestic drama, a lot of people have missed the international drama that has been happening recently, especially with the very high-profile meeting between the Chinese President Xi Jinping and, of course, the Russian President Vladimir Putin that happened in Russia just a few moments ago. A very key strategic meeting for Russia that I think is important to talk about in a very different perspective than what we are just hearing from the American corporate State Department influenced media. As of course, this is a multiple-day visit by the Chinese delegation to Russia, and there are many things that China and Russia are discussing, specifically becoming more friendly neighbors, as historically they have been at odds with each other, and more, especially because of American foreign policy, they are being brought together. But I think this meeting also signals Asia's involvement when it comes to international relations, and of course a big portion of this meeting was regarding Ukraine, as China is trying to propose a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine that would end this conflict. This is one of the major reasons why these two countries are meeting, as of course there was also another delegation sent to Ukraine from China and Japan, and a lot of countries are involved in ending this prolonged proxy conflict that is at danger, that can potentially create a world war. There's a lot of very dangerous consequences. There's a lot of nuclear weapons. There's a lot of new age technological advanced weaponry that we don't even know of that could end humanity many times over. And whether it's tsunami weapons or bioweapons, we have to understand when it comes to this conflict, escalations are quick, they're grave, and they have a lot of consequences. And of course, China is using this situation in order to get more influence on the world by trying to end this conflict. It's also important to note that the Chinese government has a lot of business interests inside of Ukraine, and the peace deal has been turned down by the United States, as of course the Secretary of State and other diplomatic representatives from the United States have just announced on national television that Ukraine will not be signing any kind of peace deal between Russia that was fostered by China. Now, this is the second time on record where Western powers, specifically the United States, has gotten involved and deliberately has decided to squash and stop peace deals. The president of the United States, Biden, said China negotiating a Russian-Ukrainian peace deal is, quote, not rational to him. Anthony Blinken, the U.S. State Department head, has come out and said, quote, the world should not be fooled by such a plan. And there was even an official announcement that Ukraine, before this peace deal was even propositioned, before the peace deal was even brought forward, before the details were even found out, that Ukraine was not going to sign this, an official statement made by the U.S. government. The United States is also denouncing the Chinese visit to Russia. This as the situation keeps getting more and more tense as Russian fighter jets keep intercepting U.S. military Air Force aircraft that are flying in the region. There was a recent show of force by the United States as a U.S. B-52 bomber was just flying near Ukraine with, of course, many NATO allies that have joined it in the sky. This as just Monday, a B-52 U.S. bomber was intercepted by a Russian fighter jet. We also recently had a Russian fighter jet take down an American Predator drone. And we have to understand here with these escalations come a lot of grave implications. Even according to foreignpolicy.com, that's reporting right now that if China arms Russia, the United States should kill China's aircraft industry, which of course they have the ability and power to do. But the United States is also dependent on a lot of cheap Chinese products and goods, and also more importantly, medications like antibiotics. So yeah, China could also kill the American healthcare industry very quickly and effectively as well. And who's going to benefit off of these larger escalations and conflicts here? Well, who knows? But it definitely looks like China and Russia are coming closer together. And as we reported to you clandestinely, China is already providing some military hardware to Russia through proxies, not of course officially. And I think their relationship is going to get cozier and cozier the more the U.S. foreign policy is aggressive, centered toward prolonging conflict and, of course, stopping any kind of possibility of peace talks. China has gotten an opportunity here to provide peace, mainly because the United States has been denying it. The UK, the Western powers, NATO, has been specifically telling Ukraine not to negotiate. Ukraine has been listening to those orders. Those orders are insane. Yes, China's looking out for their best interests and trying to gain more of an influence on the world, obviously. But I think it's fair to say that this whole situation is absolutely ridiculous, and maybe we should try to do the opposite of what we've been doing and try to de-escalate instead of escalate the situation. If you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. It is more imperative than ever. If you disagree with that, let me know why down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. One more video coming your way right now on lukeunfiltered.com. See you there.